Welcome to our webinar today. My name again is Don Kabbes. I'm the General Manager of Great Lakes Grain. One of the things we're going to cover today is we're going to review our online offer center, how you can sell grain 24/7. We like to pride ourselves on being as transparent as possible. So we do have a lot of things on our website that I want to kind of go over and just talk about a little bit. So that is there as well. We're going to go over what we call My Grain Records. You can see your tickets, contracts, settlements online. And I want to touch a little bit on marketing strategies here. So we're going to take 45 minutes or so of your time here and go over that. Great Lakes Grain is a partnership between FS Partners, Agris Co-op, and Embrun Co-op in Eastern Ontario. We have three main partners inside of Great Lakes Grain. Our partners are all co-ops, and many of our customers are owners of the individual co-ops. Co-ops kind of started, many years ago as a buying club. Farmers got together and said, hey, we can do things better collectively than we can separately. So co-ops kind of got formed, and over the years, we've formed into bigger entities. And Great Lakes Grain is really a co-op of co-ops, and all of these co-ops are owned by farmers. So Great Lakes Grain is really a farmer-owned entity, and we are a co-op of co-ops, and so that's kind of how we operate. And if we're profitable, our partners are profitable, and in turn, the farmers will get some patronage back through our partners. So kind of completing the circle, we are all owned by farmers, and we want to be as transparent in our transactions as possible and kind of show you those details as we move along. That's kind of how we operate. There's our footprint. Our footprint goes from Windsor all the way up to Ottawa. So, our Agris sites are down here in blue. Our Growmark or FS partners are here in the middle, and then Embrun up in Eastern Ontario. So we cover a good chunk of the province. We feel we're pretty tight to the farm gate and want to make sure our farmer owners are first and foremost in our mind. First thing I want to cover was our online offer center. So I am on greatlakesgrain.com is the website we're on. That's where we host all of our grain information. Now, we do have some on Agris website or some on FS Partners or Embrun. However, all the detail inside of our grain business sits on greatlakesgrain.com. That's where I'm working from today. We'll go in here. The first thing I kind of want to touch on is our online offer center. So if you're coming into Great Lakes Grain website, this is the main page. Coming up is what you'll see. Our main page pops up. We have our tier feeds. We do have a bunch of information on here. But if you want to see cash bids, click on cash bids, and you need a username and password to get into this. If you do not have one, if you've never been in on our cash bids, click on register here and fill in the information and send it in. We will then send you an email back confirming that you have a online offer account. So in today's case, what I'm going to do is log in. Now, if you forget your username or your password or don't know what you have, there's a couple buttons. You can click on them if you forgot your username or forgot your password, like many other websites. I'm just going to go ahead here and log in. And the way you can tell you're logged in is once this comes up, you're going to see this make an offer. You can see that on this. I am in Brigden. I do a little bit of farming in the Brigden area. So mine comes up as Brigden. You have a few options here as well. If you click the drop down, you can now see a whole host of other bids in this once you are logged in. If you wanted to see, Dutton farm bids for dry corn Fob Farm, this will come up and you can see a host of corn bids, bean bids, wheat bids that are out into the future. So another part of the things that we like to do is to be able to get out as far as we can to give you the option to market your grain at whatever time frame kind of works for you. If I'm in here, you can make a transaction to sell grain day or night, whatever you want to do. So let's say, hey, I want to sell some corn here for June Fob Farm Dutton. You can click on make an offer. This will pop up and it says Dutton Farm. It's Don Kabbes. I've got an offer to sell for cash. Picked up Fob Farm for June. Current price is $8.51 for that. But let's say I want to sell 10,000 bushels. I want to sell it for $9 a bushel. I'm not saying that corn's going to hit at $9. I'm just saying I want to put an offer in. The delivery date is for June. There's also an expiry date here. I often like to stretch this expiry date out a little wee bit, and it comes in just for a couple of weeks the way, or a month here, the way it's set. But you might want to spread it out till April, and then you can submit this offer, check the box. And also, as you are starting this offer, this is the start of a contract as this offer hits. Now you can click create offer. There was a question here. Location is elevator location. Yes. So what you want to do is ensure that you have your elevator location in that box. So what this has done is put an offer in for Dutton Farm for corn for 10,000 bushels for $9, Fob Farm for June, and it's going to expire on April the 8th. So you will then receive an email. You will, and if you're set up for texting on our website, you will have gotten a text as well. So you'll get an email that says you have this offer. It has come in. You can see now down below under the online offer, as I scroll down, you can see your transaction. All of a sudden, you can see an offer in for corn. I want to sell it. It's for June. It's for $9 cash, 10,000 bushels. EC means it's been accepted conditionally by our system. So that means it's sitting here in the queue, and when combination of futures and basis hits to $9, you will have a contract. You can click on the offer and you can see the details of where that is on the offer. For instance, you made a mistake and you need to get out of there. You can scroll to the bottom here and you can see that offer for corn. As I make that a little larger, you can see this offer for corn. I've also got some soybeans in the cell as well that haven't just yet. But if, for instance, I woke up and said, oh, I don't want to do that for $9, I can withdraw that offer as well. Click withdraw, and it says, do you want to withdraw it? And it will withdraw that offer from the system, and you can manage it from your end. What it also does, I'll scroll down to the bottom again here. Once it's updated, now you can see that has dropped down into the closed offer. It has been withdrawn, and so forth. You can also see other transactions that I've done. So I had sold some soybeans for harvest of 23. I had sold them for $18 a bushel back on February the 8th for 100 bushels. That offer says A, which means it's been accepted. The symbols are down below that show you acceptance of those offers. I'd also sold some beans a long time ago, back in July of 22 for $15.50 a bushel. Then I have another offer in for soybeans, and I put this until the end of May for 500 bushels at $18.50. So, looking at South American weather, will we see an opportunity to sell some $18.50 soybeans? That's what I've put in. Those are my offers. It shows you the updated detail. If you make an offer, you can go in and maybe I want to sell some new crop wheat. You can click on make the offer. Takes a second or two to load up.
There are a few questions in the chat while that's loading. One customer has asked if they could enter in the amount by tons rather than bushels.
And the challenge is that it is in tons for the offer center. The system operates in bushels, so it has to go in and add bushels. So, but a very good question.
Okay, and there's one other about the min or max amount of bushels.
So there is no minimum. If you had brought in 20 bushel of beans to clean out a wagon and you had, wheat and you wanted to sell that 20 bushels, you can put it in for 20 bushels. We do have a maximum of 20,000. And the reason we've done that is sometimes if you're like me, I get the fat finger going on every once in a while. And so we've put a maximum of 20,000. If you're in 2,000 and hit 20,000, or you put in 5,000 and hit 50,000, you may not want to sell that. So we do have a maximum of 20,000. And the other question in tons was, could you round off to the equal amount of tons? If you want to put in 20 tons, to multiply by the corn factor or the bean factor. So that is a bit of an issue, especially the further east we go. We do have a tendency to talk more in tons than in bushels. So yeah, if you want to sell 1,000 bushels of wheat at $9.50, you can submit that. If you put it in, remember, this has still got a 10-minute delay. So if right at this point in time, wheat is showing 903 a bushel, but if the market was trailing off and it never hits 903, it goes in as an offer. We do not have a sell at the market feature on this. So these are always offers. If you do want to sell completely at the market at those point in times, it might be better to make a quick phone call to us just to make sure you get the correct value on those. That is our online offer center. How that works, you will be able to not only see all of our bids for other areas. If you wanted to see, let's say you wanted to sell corn to Greenfield Chatham, you could see the value for Greenfield Chatham by clicking on that. It takes a minute here to load, but here you can now see all of those different values for Greenfield or whatever end user. We like to make sure that, we've got lots of bids available for all of our different sites so that we can continue to, give you lots of options. I think today we have over 900 different bids for corn, soybeans, wheat to many, many locations. So we do have lots of options for our customers. So that's our online offer center. You can talk to any of our staff or give us a call here in the office and we can help you through those different pieces. I do want to share for a second some of the other things on our website. As I said earlier, we want to be as transparent as possible. This is on greatlakesgrain.com. If you go to products and services and you want to see, we have a whole host of detail on here. For instance, if you're not on direct deposit and you want to get on direct deposit, we do have a direct deposit form here. You can fill out, there's a downloadable form to fill out so you can enroll. We have about 80% of our business is on direct deposit. We really like it because the money goes in your bank account the next day when you sell your grain. So we really like that versus taking a check in the mailbox. Sometimes, and those checks all come from Chatham. So getting them from Chatham to Cumberland sometimes takes a couple of days. So EFT makes very good sense to us to do that. One of the other things on products and services is our elevator terms. We do list all of our terms here, drying, storage charges, all of those discount tables, etc. We have those all listed on our website. I think we are one of the only companies that does offer that. So we do try to be, once again, as transparent as possible so that our terms are listed. So you can see what your drying is, what your storage charges are, and all of those kind of things. We want to make sure that's front and center. The other thing that we post on here is our processor discounts. So if you're delivering corn to Suncor, for instance, we post your discount table here. If you're delivering corn to Suncor directly on your own, once that grain gets delivered, we are using the Suncor discount on that. We have a lot of these posted for most of our end users. You can see those for discounts if there is anything applicable. So you can see what you're up against if you're making a direct shipment to those locations. Another interesting little thing we put here is some of our USDA reports. USDA is kind of has been market movers in the past number of years. But we do have the actual report schedule posted. You can come in and see, we have a USDA report next, I think it's Wednesday, the 8th, February 8th, there's one coming up. So you see the entire USDA schedule that we have listed here. Also inside of that, we post what those reports are. So you can go through the supply and demand tables and see those. So there's some very good information we like to keep as consistent as we can. So there's lots of information inside of our website to see some of those things. We do have, for those who like to watch the weather a little bit, which probably all of us do, there is some interesting pieces on the weather tab. And I know everybody has their own source for weather. What I really like about the weather on our website is, it's a pretty clear day here now. I'm just going to zoom out. This is a radar, and you can hit the start button here and you can see the radar move. The other thing that the website does a really nice job of, and I'm going to broaden this out a little bit. You click on this layers, you want to see the drought monitor. That should pop up. Now you can see what the drought monitor looks like throughout the entire U.S. This is updated all the time, so it the nice thing about this, it is showing, some of that drought area that has happened in the Great Lakes and even on the Canadian side. A lot of data in here. So it gives you some good some good information. I think, we've seen the area in the Midwest or in the Western Plains, the drought has kind of gone away a little bit as we shift from La Nina to El Nino. Will that weather pattern shift a little bit? But some interesting pieces to look at. You can also see the Palmer Drought Index, which goes by state and it stops at the border here. Those are just different things that are inside of our weather piece. But yeah, if you want to watch radar or do whatever, you can see all the weather events, and if there's something coming across the U.S., it's always start in the U.S. and then come to us. So those are just some neat little features inside our weather portion as well. So there's a question here. If I sell to Greenfield, I still deliver to my local elevator, but get the Greenfield price. So very good question. If you're delivering to the elevator, you're taking the elevator price. If you are set up to take your grain directly to Greenfield and meet their specifications, meaning dry grain delivered to their elevator to Greenfield in Chatham, say in June, you would get that June price for Greenfield. So if you're delivering wet corn, let's say, to the elevator at harvest, you're working on that elevator price. Is GLG working to enable basis only or futures only contracts through the offer center? Good question, Julian. Those ones today we are still doing separately through we'd have to call our branches to get those done, but that is our next plan, is how do we get those added on there. Another question here, the main topic was feeding Japan. Does Great Lakes Grain deal with Japan? We do deal with Japan on some IP soybeans, but that is about it. We are not dealing likely very much directly with Japan. We are going through exporters to get that done. But a lot of our grain would end up, soybeans especially, would end up in Japan. Does it show South America radar? Not really, I think, because there's two questions there. If you zoom out on this, you can see South America, but it doesn't get very far. It doesn't really show the weather. That is one of the things we've asked ETN to add to our site, is to give more American weather. But great questions. I have some other sites that we can use, and I just don't have them loaded up here. Right? That's kind of our website and some of the things that are there and available. So if you want to see, this is a separate login. So remember, cash bids and online offer is one login. This, seeing your tickets, settlements, and contracts, is a separate login. We are trying to get that all under one login, but right at this point is two separate logins. So if you go to my account, you can view my grain account. A few different buttons here. So if you already have a grain account, you're already registered, you can log in. If you don't have a grain account, you have to register for it. So those are the two buttons. Our cash bids, we've put those in here as well. You can log into your cash bids, or if you have to register. So right today, I am into my grain account. This is my own personal grain account. I don't have a test account to show anybody. This is my information. And what you get when you come into my grain account, on the home page, you'll see your recent contracts, your recent settlements, and your recent tickets. Those are the three things. A ticket is either coming into the elevator, or a direct ship ticket off farm. A settlement is any grain we've sold and created the actual settlement, or the contract is the recent contract that we've priced the grain on. You can go into contract settlements and tickets through the face of this, or you can go in on the side menu as well. So I'm going into contracts and I want to see contracts. I can click on contracts quite easily. Oh, this rascal has signed me out here. So about that, I want to go see contracts. I can now click on contracts. And what it does, it shows my last two open contracts. So open contracts are contracts that have not been delivered. And make sure you set this for the last 1,000 days. We do contracts that go out quite a little ways, so let's make sure we're catching them all. The menu is sometimes 30 days, but stretch it out to the last 1,000 days. And this is showing my last two contracts. I showed you those values on the online offer center. One was $15.50 and another was $18. So those are my two contracts. You can look at the detail of the contract. You can contract PDF, and you will see the exact same contract that you would have gotten in the mail from us. So that contract is there. It's for you to see. You can print that off. If you wanted to confirm a contract, we send contracts out from our office and say, hey, please sign this, send it back. You can do this online. So you can confirm this contract, click on the confirm, and it's already been confirmed. So that contract is there. It's been confirmed, but you can do that online and confirm your contract. Those are a couple of the features inside of my grain account. If you want to look at tickets, click on tickets, and you can see if I wanted to pick beans, for instance, I can do that for the last 1,000 days, and you can see the last inbound tickets we have. You can see the detail inside of those. If you wanted to see the grading on it, you can click on grading. If you want to see when it was delivered, you can see the delivery point. If you want to see the contract it was applied to, it will show you that data, and it will show you the settlement that we had applied it to, and it will show you the payment of that grain as well. So you can tell whether you've been paid for it, buy ticket in any fashion you'd like to see. So those are there. If you're shipping direct grain off farm, we will create a ticket to ship that grain. Then when we get the outturn, once the outturn's posted, you could see it on here as well on a direct basis. But that's tickets. You can also see your settlements, and you can see all of the settlements. I put the last 180 days. This was for some soybeans that I was paid for last fall. You can see the entire settlement. You can click on the settlement and see all of the detail inside of that. So all the detail is there, especially as we're getting close to tax time here now. We can, good idea, if you're not registered for My Grain Records, please do so. You can get a little bit of additional information there to tidy up on taxes, etc. So great, it's a good little record keeping system. You can do it online. Hey, it's not that we don't want to talk to you. We love talking to farmers. But if you want to do some of this on your own, you certainly can. So those are the three main pieces inside of your grain account: contracts, tickets, settlements, that you can see. Now remember, it is a different login than the online offer center. So we're working hard to get those things changed. And I know I've told that story a long time. We can get it fixed real quick, but we will eventually get that done. So those are some of the things that we're working on with your grain account, My Grain Records. So those are some of those pieces. The other thing I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about is some of the things we're trying to do for grain marketing and how to build good marketing strategies for our farmers, just so that we can sell better and do a little bit better job down the road of our marketing. So this is our internal product. I don't want to show too much, but what we do is we do track by, so every farmer that deals with us, we go back a long ways and say, here's our just history. Here's what you have sold. This particular is Farmer Joe here. But this goes back, our system goes back to 2014. We can show you your average price for the last 7 or 8 years of the grain that you've sold, whether it be for corn, soybeans, wheat, whatever it is. So we can do that. We can want to take out soybeans, for instance, on this particular grower. We can also see what the average selling price has been for those last number of years. So it's a good little check where values are. People kind of forget that we were selling a lot of sub $12 beans in the last 5 or 6 years. Prices have come up, certainly have done a better job the last few years because of values have gotten a little bit higher. So how do we turn that into good marketing and good marketing decisions? We track that for all of your sales that you've done with us. This is internally, our staff can pull this up for you very, very quickly. The piece that we'd like to get to is how do we build a bit of a strategy? I'm just going to check the chat. I see there's a couple of questions here. Cornerstone would be nice to have. I agree with you. Does Cornerstone give us the average price per ton? Yes, it will. It will do that for you as well. So great questions. Ask our origination staff, ask our branch staff, what does your own portfolio look like? Part of the planning process is, what did we do last year? What did we do 2 or 3 or 4 years ago? That's really the process. And then we can build from there. Well, what would I do different to make something different next year? So another thing that we do, and we track this a little bit internally. So this particular farmer, Joe, this is his soybeans for crop years. The green bar is the grain that this grower has priced in those months. And the orange or yellow, I guess that is the when the grower was actually shipping this grain. So this grower shipped a lot of grain in September, October, November, kind of through harvest. Looks like has a little bit of farm storage and ships through the rest of the year. And you can see how this grower has been pricing their grain a little bit more in September, October, November. So it shows when this grower has been pricing grain and when they're shipping. This is all years in. The gray line is the average price for all of Great Lakes grain, what the average price has been for all growers to sell grain in those years. So one thing that this shows me is that generally September, October are lower price points. The gray line is lower. And generally, first of the year or the tail end of the year, we have higher values. So we got two things going on in soybeans today. You have South America, planting goes on November, December. They're trying to get that crop planted through November, December, and peaks out in Feb. Then you have the U.S. crop trying to get planted here in April, May, June. So you have a couple of higher points. So the market is to do a couple of different things. Get as much, when the market is trying to enhance supply, they're trying to get as much grain purchased as possible, get as much grain planted as possible. And then once it's in the ground, we want to buy it as cheap as possible. You get these two little waves in soybeans that are doing that. We want to look at what do we do differently to help this out. We can filter this by year or commodity. If you wanted to see what you did in 21, we can apply that. So in this case, highest price in 21 was in June. We didn't make very many sales in June. What do we have to do differently? We made more sales in October, November. We put this through into the right marketing year. I'm not saying that every year is the same. The piece is, what did we do last year? What have we done over time that will help us? Same thing in 2020. The price rallied through summer and fall. We make sales to adjust through those different marketing years. Where we can do this for commodity as well. So if we said, give me all years and give me corn, this particular grower, so generally that March through June time frame is generally higher corn values. Is that when we should be concentrating on a bigger percentage of our marketing? You don't want to be caught into the harvest low in October and selling all your grain in October. Just to give you a good view of how should we change our marketing, what else could or should we be doing? We want to look at wheat. I'm not sure this grower is a huge wheat grower, but we can kind of see the same thing. Lots of deliveries in June, July, when the market's been kind of at its lowest. How do we start pricing more in that March, April, May time frame? We can accommodate our harvest delivery. Just some things to think about in terms of our marketing. The other thing we want to look at is our seasonals. These are our seasonal charts, and our staff has this at their fingertips at all times. This is March 23 soybeans, so March beans aren't going to trade too much longer. They're going to go off here at the end of February, but seasonally, we are generally from harvest to the end of February. Seasonally, soybeans do have a little bit of rally left in them until that South American crop starts to come off. Not sure that there's that many old crop soybeans left kicking around. You're thinking about new crop soybeans seasonally till June, July, between now, the blue line is today, between now and the 1st of July, soybeans seem to be in a bit of an upward move, and we get into this end of February. Once the South American crop comes off, we might get into a little bit of a dip in through that time period. So that seasonally, I'm not saying seasonals are the perfect piece on looking at grain values, but it give you a trend. This is a 15-year seasonal chart. And with corn, this is March 23 corn. So March can go off the board at the end of February here. So seasonally, corn does trend up a little bit to the end of February. We've been higher than normal. So does that mean we're going to stabilize out a little bit through the marketing year? Forward a little bit to new crop, same story as soybeans. Corn generally, ramps up till kind of that middle of June timeframe. How do we build that marketing plan in order to continue to sell that grain from now to the end of June and make those things? Wheat. The thing with wheat is seasonally, wheat generally drops from the day you stick it in the ground to the day you harvest it. And this is March 23 wheat. Let's look at new crop. New crop is kind of the same. We're in this gifting motion, and we have a ton of wheat in Ontario this year. We got a big crop in, and the problem is it was a higher price when you were planting it. Nobody wants to sell it for a lower price today. However, I do feel that wheat in a sideways to down fat pattern between now and the day you harvest it. It just doesn't feel like it's got a whole lot of lift. So those are just a couple of things that we like to look at. We can look at individually on everyone's own marketing. And how do we play that? Those are just some of the things. I think if you got to think about your plan. You got lots of time to think about marketing today, but the day you're sitting in the tractor seat, you may not. So how do you plan up until the end of June? One of our originators, Jim Irvine, that many of you might deal with, Jimmy likes to put in offers till about the July 4th weekend, somewhere in there. There's a USDA report comes out June 30th. So think about your plan right up through till that first week in July, and how can you build around that? So those are some of the things we like to look at. We do have a couple of questions here in the chat. Your cash bid, as well as our daily report, so futures price for soft red, but not for hard red. Is there a reason for that? Good question. We do have hard red at some locations, not all. We've not been receiving hard red wheat at all of our locations. So we do have, if we were to say Mitchell, for instance, just double check and make sure it's there. Those are locations to the north. We do have a hard red winter bid for our Mitchell location and some of our locations to the north. In the Agris geography, we have not been receiving very much hard red. But however, hey, if you get some hard red and we need something to do with it, let's have a chat around that. You just can't do everything with everybody at every location, but our hard red wheat is listed under Mitchell and some of those other locations. Cornerstone, I would love to get Cornerstone to the hands of producers. We have a little ways to get that done, so it's going to take us a little while to get that. It's a security issue. How do we make sure we don't have everybody's information out there? So that is there. We will eventually get out in the countryside. If I deliver beans in October but contract in March, how is the storage fee charged for the four? How is the storage fee charged? So if you're delivering beans at harvest, I'll just show you what our storage fee terms are. So if you go to elevator terms, you can see elevator terms, corn, soybeans, wheat storage. And here is our storage charges. We have been the same for 10 or 12 years. So we charge $3.50 a metric ton initial storage charge plus 8 cents a metric ton per day. So if we were going to March for 4 or 5 months, so if it was 4 months at 30 days, is 8.5 cents a metric ton times 30 times 4. That would be the charge plus $3.50 a ton. So that would be the little metric charge price. I hope that answers that question. And Devin's got an answer here. The soft red and hard red are traded over the same futures. The basis is the difference on those two pieces. Thanks, Devin, for answering that. So that's kind of what we've been working on. That's kind of some of the things that we wanted to talk about this morning. So the thing I want you to think about is, how much grain you want to have sold by, by the end of June next year. what does that marketing piece look like? Look back at your history. We can give you lots of data, and we're not telling you how to sell your grain, but we can help you work through how to make that all work, what works for your farm, for your own elevator facility. How do you maximize your returns on your acre, et cetera. So lots of certainly working with our agronomy staff on how to build the best plan to grow a good crop, and let's build a plan to market it. One last little thing I do want to touch on is some of the sustainability work we've been doing. You can't pick up a farm publication or read anything on a ag website and not hear something about sustainability. We've been doing a lot of work inside of sustainability for our end users. We have a fantastic story to tell from the farm gate. Farmers are doing things much, much differently today than they did 5, 10, 15 years ago. When I first started way too long ago, we used to set in hydrous toolbars for 220 pounds of nitrogen per acre and grow 140 or 50 bushel corn crop. Today, we're using 170 pounds of N and producing 250 bushel. We kind of reversed that whole process. We need to keep telling that story to our end users and our consumers. So we're building programs with our end users to say, here is the story that's going on the farm. And we'll want to embrace that, because things that we're doing on the farm with reduced tillage and better nitrogen management and cover crops and rotation and all those great things we're doing, Joe Public doesn't really know those stories. So we have to continue to promote that. So we will be out asking some questions about what's going on in your farm today. And we do have a number of programs. We have more, maybe a little bit more with our industrial corn users with Ingredion and Greenfield. They are looking for some of this data, but we have a great story to tell from our farm. And how do we get that story to our end users, which in turn gets to our consumers? So we want to continue to build that story and continue to promote, all the great things we're trying to get done on the farm. And how do we take that data and prove to our end users, here's all the good stuff we're doing. Well, I appreciate everybody's attendance here today. There is my phone number and my email. If there's anything that you ever want to talk about, don't be scared to give me a call. And if I don't have the answer, I'll probably tell you, and I'll put you to the person who can answer your question. So appreciate everybody's time here today. And thanks so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.